Hello, MiddleGround. Welcome to episode 18. Today, we are here with a dear friend of mine. We're gonna call him Slim today. Slim, let's learn about what you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on with you.
Alright, so I work law enforcement. Mostly some investigation stuff. You know, I dispatch some fire, EMS, police. So usually when you call 911, that's when I answer the phone. Not 911 directly, but yeah. So if you're in a certain town or like in a certain area, like I'll pick up the phone, 911 directs you to me, and then I determine what you need, how much of it you need, and how fast you need it. So.
Are you allowed to talk about the phone calls you've had, or?
No.
No, you can't talk about it.
Yeah, there's like a waiver you have to sign.
Yeah. Plus, it's deep.
It's very deep.
You wouldn't.
I've had some crazy experiences on some really weird phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, some weird shit.
Some really weird
Which
stuff.
is stupid, because can't you like track all that shit down?
I can. I wasn't taught how to. I learned myself.
Because you can kind of just trace back calls. That's why it's kind of stupid.
I wasn't taught how to. I learned how to. So certain things that they teach you.
Boop! Press the button. I have 6 troopers at your house.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
I know.
I got to do a little bit of deep diving. But for the most part, it's kind of cut and dry.
Do you think do you actually enjoy it? Like, I know you've gotten into it, you probably had your own mindset of what you expect from it, but like, did you go into it and expect what you've gotten, and do you actually enjoy what you're doing?
For the most part, yeah. The only thing I don't enjoy is the shift that I work. So that's pretty much it, because you got 3 shifts. You got first, which is usually, and all departments do it differently, you know, and that's both fire and the police side of it. You have usually first shift, which is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. usually. Then you have second, which is 4 p.m. to midnight, and then you have third shift, which is midnight to 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, but every shift has its own thing of like what you can get yourself into. So like first shift, you get most of the the administrative stuff, like paperwork, some gun violation BS, you know, maybe some people that get tickets, they want to know where to go, how to get them fixed.
Yeah, you deal with the normal shit.
Right, the stuff that most departments deal with on a normal basis for day shift, which would be that stuff, the administrative aspect.
It's getting a little darker. It starts getting a little darker with
once
the
it
calls.
starts getting a little darker, the animals start to come out at night. I've had like accidents like in the blink of an eye before I sit down at 4 o'clock. Sit down on the desk, sign it in, right? Next thing you know, you got like a 3-car pile up and one guy's unresponsive. You know, it just happens like at the drop of a hat. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I've literally had it happen. Sit down on the desk, sign in, literally getting the bearings, you know, and the next thing you know, that call comes in. You ain't got time to. You gotta do it. You gotta go.
You know what to consider too?
Believe it or not, I handle stress very well.
How?
A lot of whiskey. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't get stressed out that much. The only time I've ever gotten stressed out on the job is when you're dealing with 5 calls at the same time. Now, mind you, in my department, it is just me in that room for 8 hours. So I could be tackling a house fire, 3 medicals, and a serious accident. And I have to, if I don't have enough resources for that, the area that I work in, I have to pull them from different areas strategically so I don't drain the other resources that are around me.
You have to know to allocate it in a way that will work for everybody.
Exactly. And I can't leave that area high and dry. And there's certain aspects of where you can pull those things from. Like there's certain corridors and certain commands that you can call in to get those already going for you. And luckily there are other agencies that if I do have a lot of stuff piling up, and I'll say, hey, can you take some of the slack off? Because I'm only one man. I move very, very fast when I'm on the desk, and I've got 5 things going on at the same time. And they're all of a very serious nature. And I'm lucky enough that the state has placed those cells, those people to help me in that position, so it takes the load off of my back.
Yeah.
Because I forget one thing, and somebody dies, it's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
like
definitely a problem.
I seen a video of the call between a woman whose friend got eaten by a monkey. You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So this was like years ago. So
Wait, what?
a woman had a pet chimpanzee.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah, this was so long
and
ago.
they went crazy and it ripped their arms off and ripped the. It was
Oh, it
eating
rip
it.
her arms off.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
It mutilated her.
Yeah.
And it was eating her. So I was listening to the call. I thought it was fake. Like when I was first listening to this call, I was like, this can't be fucking. Like this girl's hysterical. She's sitting. She's like, he's eating her face. She's fucking. Can you send someone over? And the guy's kind of calmly like, well, we're doing what we can. Can you sense? She's eating her fucking face.
You have to understand that that's probably like a 10-year veteran.
Yeah, I know.
From 911 who's heard just about everything. The dude's probably heard somebody get murdered on the phone.
And the crazy thing was in the comments, so people were like, oh, that guy was so bad. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what else is he supposed to say or do?
There was a video that came out of excuse me. There was a video that came out of a county in Texas. And I watched this a couple weeks ago, and it was of a department operator. So what I do, right? Now counties are a lot different than towns in the Northeast. Counties can span over 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 towns, and they're included in that county. So you would have one police department. So you might have 3 or 4 of those dispatchers in that room, in that office, right? It was a guy who called in saying that he owned an auto repair shop, and he goes, some guy came in, he's got to be high on something, he's asking me he's going to get his brake changed, he's disclosing that he might have a warrant out for his arrest in regards to a murder that happened a couple towns over, this and that, can you send somebody over? Yeah, sure, we can send somebody over, let me notify the supervisor, this and that. Dispatcher did a great job. And then the follow-up call happens within 30 minutes, and he goes, I called you guys 30 minutes ago, where the hell are you? And it's like, but this is what most people don't understand. You might have 4 officers. 3 might be dealing with a fatal accident.
Yeah, it depends on the
One
amount of
officer
people
might be
in each
running for town coverage. But this is when it comes to counties. I have no idea how many officers a certain county has at a certain time, because we don't really do that over
And you
there.
can't there's no immediate like this is an emergency situation. I need to call out of town and have guys come in.
So what they did was they went over there, and this was it went from call logs, like listening to the audio, to a body cam video, multiple body cam videos actually. And the guy went over there. He was like, "Hey, listen, the shop owner doesn't want you here." And he's still doing his breaks. He's like, "Listen, I don't want your name, I want your ID, and I want what you're doing here." And the guy's like, "All right, I'll get you my ID." And you could just see he's kind of like pacing around, just enough stuff. He's doing the key things to keep you on the edge of your seat for you to at least get that first. So they have the holsters, right?
Yeah,
they have multiple retention settings for the holsters. He's doing the key things enough where you take a retention set out of your holster, so in case if something does happen, you do have to pull it. He's doing all the stuff that is very familiar with. He's going to reach for something in the car. He's very agitated. He doesn't want us around. He may look like he might want to hurt us. And what ended up happening was he did have a warrant for murder out for his arrest. His girlfriend was in the car.
Christ.
And he went for a gun in the car, and you already know how that went down.
Yeah.
Now, every officer out of that video made it out okay, but at the same time, it was like the follow-up call that happened 30 minutes after he originally called. The guy was like, "What the hell's going on? You need to do your job. Like, what is going on?" But they don't understand, and we cannot disclose that we have something else of a more important nature going on. Now, you might say, "What's more important than a guy with a warrant out for his arrest for murder?" Believe it or not, there's a lot more important stuff that happens. Somebody could be literally unresponsive in a house for an overdose. That's more important.
I was gonna say
because
if that guy's not doing anything hostile at that moment, that's what would make it a low priority. If the guy was in the fucking shop with a gun waving it at the dude, that would be completely different.
But he was not, because that's not what the description came in as for that video.
Exactly, it came in as just a guy with a fucking warrant asking to get his brakes fixed.
Right, but of course you would think, why would you disclose that you have a warrant out for your arrest for 2 towns over? Because I guarantee you, if he didn't say that, he would have skated and they wouldn't have known.
You would have. Well, some people. People usually kill people for any means or no, you know what I'm saying, and they're running around with a warrant. They're not really that smart.
I don't know, maybe get that like contemplation of like being on the run. The thought of it as itself, they can't handle the pressure sometimes.
This is something.
Like
this is something I like. I like that you said that because this is something I learned when I started working in law enforcement. Is when you catch a guilty person of something like a high enough charge as murder, and I've only ever seen one person convicted of murder since I've started working. You notice that when they're done, like on the run, and they're arrested and they're in that cell block, they sleep immediately. Because they don't have to worry about being on the run anymore and going to jail. And that's an actual thing. You see it all the time. First thing they'll do, they'll pass out right in that cell. They'll sleep. That'll be the best night's sleep of their life. Or the best nap of their life, depending on where they're going.
It's true. It's just crazy to think about. Fucking, yeah, a lot of detail into that job of yours, man.
But there's a lot of discretion, too. So a lot of people are very quick to judge. But what they don't understand is that we're trained to use our best discretion on what matter is of most attention.
Yeah, I like that. Like, you notice that, like,
and it takes
like the fact that you can address like somebody unresponsive to an overdose is like a bigger priority than a ROS. Like life is first. That's
because we cannot verify that person actually does have it until somebody gets on scene and is like, okay, what's going on and this and that. Because that guy who was going in to swap his brakes, guaranteed he didn't give you a name. Guaranteed he paid in cash, so you don't have a name anyway.
Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting? I've never actually had a good interaction with cops. And you know me, I'm not an asshole. I never try to be an asshole, but the cops I've dealt with are assholes. Like I had one time, some cops came to my house and apparently they were looking for somebody, and I was like, that person's not here because the person wasn't fucking there. But they came up to my door, and I'm sitting here.
Was it somebody that you knew?
It was somebody I knew.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here, and I think I just woke up, and I'm at the fucking door, and the guy's already like barged into my fucking house. One of the guys has a gun on a holster. I open the door. He's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You're at my door." I'm like, "I live here." He's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "It's Hanley. What's yours?" Like, I was like, "How you doing?" Like, I'm trying to like make conversation. I'm like, what are you? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm actually very polite about it, and they're standing there and they're just looking at me. They're asking me questions. I'm like, "Well, first off, like, how you guys doing? You guys are at my house. You guys come over here. You have your gun in your holster." I was like, "Can you fucking relax for a second? Because I'm willing to give you answers."
Well, let me explain something to you. When officers go into a house, right?
No warrant, by the way, because never mentioned a warrant or anything. They just want to try to barge the house.
So when officers go into a house, and was it 2 of them? Or was it 3 of them?
Like 5.
5?
5 dudes ready to fucking storm into my house with a gun in a holster to shoot a 19-year-old.
That could be. Well, no.
I know they were.
That's a bit excessive.
I know. I was just pissed off.
It is not. When they get that extra level of retention off, like they're putting that back strap down, that's nothing really to be. You know, you keep an eye on it, but it's nothing really to be scared about.
I understand from your point of view because you're assuming that they're not gonna do anything because they're only on that first level. To me though, as a person who's unarmed, young, and sitting there looking at a few officers with guns, it's a little threatening.
And somebody's coming into your home, you get that.
And they didn't make it into my house. When I went upstairs to go talk to my brothers because I wanted to ask about my brothers, I said. They were like, "Oh, who else is here?" I was like, "My brothers." Like, "Can we talk to them?" I said, "I'll ask them if you could talk to them." Went upstairs. I said, "They don't want to talk." I was like, "They don't want to talk. They're under the age of 18 anyways. They don't have to speak to you if they don't want to." Right. I was like, I'm 19. I'll speak to you all I want." I was like, "You have any questions? Feel free to ask me." I'm in charge. This was like a year or 2 ago.
Oh shit!
I was like, I'm in charge right now. And they're like, "Well, we were told that someone's here, and you're telling us they're not here." I'm like, "Yeah, they're not here." I was like, "I don't even fucking like the person."
That could be a number of things. Like you can get as a dispatcher, you can get third-party calls. And you have to go off of the information that was received.
Of course, you have to, because you only know one side of the story. You're coming to approach the extras, the other side, and it was only frustrating too because the guys weren't willing to listen to me or willing to actually communicate. They just wanted to do what they had to do, and I understood it. And that's why I was trying to communicate with them. But I'm like, there has to be 2 parts to this. Don't just come to my house expecting me to bend over backwards for whatever you need because you're in my house. You're the one who needs something from me. Let's just talk about this so I can figure out what the hell's going on because you're just approaching me with all this information without letting me understand it. And it was pissing me off too because then my mom was calling me because my brothers called my mom. So my mom hates cops. I'm the one who's able to talk to them without, because I wasn't actually cursing at the dude. I'm speaking on because it was the past. I'm kind of pissed off. So my mom was calling me, and she's like, tell them fucking people to get the fuck out the house, because my mom hates cops. And I'm like, Mom, listen, let me just talk to them. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on and what the hell they want.
And you come from a good family, too, so that's, like, very surprising.
Because we've always dealt with cops being bad. So what we did, though, the next day, we went to the chief was pretty nice. We went to the Johnson Police. We went and talked to him. I put them in their place. My mom was trying to yell. I said, Mom, stop. I was like, let me talk, because you're trying to yell. I'm like, the problem isn't the cops doing their job. The problem is how they approached us in the house. I was like, they approached me with their gun in their holster, whether or not they meant to do anything dangerous. The problem was that they approached me like that. I was trying to give them answers. They're trying to say I'm lying to them, and I'm trying to tell them what's going on and try to figure out what the hell's going on, but they're not giving me any information. I was like, that's my problem, Chief.
There's many reasons why they could be at your house looking for somebody. And again, it can come back to that third party.
There was a third-party caller.
It could come back to that third-party caller most of the time. But there's a lot of different reasons. And again, if you didn't work in this field or you didn't know somebody that worked in this field, you would not know as to why we do certain things. Now, mind you, if they are... I'm not here to comment on any department's way of conducting business. That's not my thing. All right? Because we're all brothers and sisters and we'll lay our lives down for each other. That's just how it is. Despite if one's better than the other, it doesn't matter. But I got to say that you probably got a rookie fresh out of the academy.
He did look young, too, the person I was speaking to.
Right, so you probably got a rookie fresh out of the academy that was, still getting his feet wet and still doesn't know how to do certain things. It probably still is on FTO.
No, I say that because there was only one guy who was like that. I was like, what is your issue, dude? I'm like, I'm trying to communicate with you. I was like, I work sales. I'm like, I know how to talk to people. I'm like, you're not talking to some stupid 19-year-old who smokes weed every single day.
Right.
I know how to talk to people. I was like, just communicate with me. I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. It was just frustrating.
There's a lot of different aspects to the job that like I could explain to you, and some people just don't understand unless you worked in that line of work.
I know it's dangerous. I know that. That's why
It's very dangerous.
That's why I never give any cop every single time we ever get stopped by them. I pull everything out of my pockets. I put it right here before they come to the car, and I talk to them as polite as I can. If they give me attitude, I'm just gonna speak to them in the manner they're talking to me, because I'm like, all right, you're the bigger guy here. Aren't you the one with the gun? You're the one with the law enforcement. I'm like, just talk to me like a human being. That's what I hate. And every single time I've had interactions with cops, I don't understand what it is. I try to be as calm as I can with them, and they always have some type of... Even when I was young, like I was a fucking... I don't know if you was there. We were walking down the street. It was me, Gerald, and a couple of other friends walking on my street. Asshole cop comes, just stops. He said, what are you guys doing? We're like, walking to my house. He's like, yeah, but there's too many of you. I'm like, what do you mean there's too many? He tried separating our group. I'm like, we're on the streets. I told him. He's like, where do you live? I'm like, I live right there. I'm like... My friend's like, then why'd you tell me? I'm like, because I'm not trying to argue with the cop. I'm like, I live right there. I was like, I don't understand what the issue is. He's like, you guys need to separate. I'm like, we're going right there. And he's like, I have something big, because they called him on the internet. He's like, I have something bigger to deal with, and then he left. But I'm like, what was the fucking problem?
Like I said, I'm not gonna comment on the way
any
any other agency does like certain things, but I gotta say, like, the media has manipulated what the job looks like now.
I know. I defend them every single time I see him.
They make it look like we're the bad guys, and we're really not.
No, it's just bad apples.
You get the bad apples. That's the ones that always get the
I've
screen
gotten
time.
lucky. Yep.
That's the ones that always get the screen time.
People that aren't cops that are bad people, and the people that are cops, there's some bad cops. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't.
Majority of them are good. I'll say that, because their job requires them to have some kind of heart to be able to get into it. Like, you can't just become a cop just because.
But it's not an occupation thing. It's a people thing. I feel, you know.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
it's
a lot of them have a good heart.
It's a calling.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until I was at the end of the road in high school. I got recruited when I was 20 years old. I was 6 months out of high school. That's when I got recruited by my department. And that was a lot of responsibility, putting other people's lives in my hands at 20 years old. And I handled it pretty well.
I do know.
And I took it like a champ, and I haven't lost one person since I've started working yet. So
that's really good, actually. That's really good. I commend you for that. But
most people, our senior guy has got 10 years on. He's probably lost about maybe 10 or so people since he started.
Christ.
But some of those you just can't help.
Yeah, I mean, there's things.
I've had those phone calls, you know.
They're like things that are just out of reach or too late, you know.
It's oh my God, right. He's not breathing. What's going on? What do I do? You stay as calm as possible.
Yeah.
That's the key. Because if you get all jumpy and riled up, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to make a mistake. That person's going to make a mistake, and that's going to be it. So obviously, you know, I work on a rescue as well. And
you volunteer, right?
Yeah, but I still get paid for it.
Oh, so
That's
paid
still,
volunteering.
no, so technically, yeah, it is a volunteer thing, but it's like call pay.
I used to volunteer fire.
Yeah. So that's like when I I hate the fire side, but I work on the rescue all the time because I think that the knowledge for working on a rescue is more important than the knowledge of going to a fire, because fire is very simple.
Even like, which is crazy, like a lot of rescue shit. A lot of shit is like increased. Like it's to the point now, like your yellow jackets, your security guards, they're carrying the arcade and shit now.
I carry an Narcan.
Yeah.
Even when I'm off duty, I got it in my
There's a
truck
lot of
right
people
now.
who don't want to do security jobs anymore either. I heard it's kind of like.
Hey,
But that's
It's
but that's
unemployment.
you look at that, but that's every aspect. Like nobody wants to be a cop, nobody wants to be a firefighter or like a paramedic or an
Because it's just
EMT anymore.
dangerous.
It's a very, very dangerous job, and like I said before, it's a calling.
Mm-hmm.
Those three jobs, fire, EMS, and police, it is a calling.
And that's exactly what I was saying. That's why I don't understand how there can be bad people doing that. If it's like you want to do something.
Oh, there could
good.
be some bad apples,
Yeah,
but
but-
but that's when you see like them starting out. They're at the top of their career, and they're a sponge. They're intaking every bit of information that they see that they can get right. And after a while, you start to see some really gruesome stuff. You know, it starts to take a toll on them. Then they start to become an asshole. That's the thing. A lot of thing is like people don't understand is the night shift, third shift, midnight to 8 a.m. That takes a toll on you mentally as well.
I was saying it from my own mother. She's a RN, obviously, as you know, and that third shift used to beat her ass. So
Yeah, you can
It's
sleep.
it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
No.
Because I work third shift myself, and I gotta tell you, like sometimes it can be quiet, and there's nothing more surreal than sitting in a room from midnight to 8 a.m. coming in when the sun is down, leaving when the sun comes up, going home to sleep, doing it all over again. If you get nothing, you get nothing. But I've had those calls. Somebody's freaking out. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's like, okay, well, there's no backup. It is me. I'm the bottom line. I got to do this. And sometimes it can be mentally challenging because you go home. I'll sit in my car for 20 minutes when I get back to the house just to decompress. Because that's just how it is.
it's tough shit.
True. I can't relate to you. I can't relate to you in like what you do, but I can relate to you in how I do because I work for my job, right? Where I take in phone calls, and in between each phone call, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a little anxious when it comes in because you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm dealing with people who are.
But I
trained
see that
for-
as a sign of to make yourself better.
Yeah, no, I like
I
it.
absolutely love showing up to work and not knowing what's going to come through that phone.
Exactly, and then we're also realizing that you are the end all be all, right? Because I have people calling me in to take funds out for their living. Like I had someone calling me in about doing automatic withdrawals. I don't know how to fuck. This is my first time ever fucking doing it. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I'm calm, but in my head, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to like research. The guy's like rushing me. He's like, I really need this money. He's like, I have no other way of living. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like trying to figure out like how I can get this money into this person's into his account. I'm like trying to figure, and it sounds like such a minimal tax, but they have to take into account taxes because if I don't do this correctly, it can affect their taxes and they can get tax evasion, go to jail, right? I also have to affect their living if we don't take the funds out properly. If it's in the wrong fund and they're not making any money on it, again, they're going to lose their living and what they have left being 60, 70 years old with no other person to take care of them.
Right.
And I'm the person who's supposed to give them all the answers. So I was like talking to my leader because she was saying when we get into our next role, like that's really my role. Like right now I'm kind of more of a transition person to get them over to those people. But that's my role. I'm like what happens? Like I'm like, how do I know what to recommend them? Thank God they have ways, we already have paths made for it. But I'm like, if I recommend the wrong thing to this person, I can ruin their life savings.
Right.
And they have nothing else to live off. And it makes you feel good because at the end of the day I'm helping somebody, but it also gets you anxious because it's like if I make the wrong click on this person's account, all their money's gone.
Yeah, y'all are both making choices with people's lives,
Livelihood.
financially or
The
physically,
difference
whatever it
is
be.
that you have a point to control somebody's finances. I have a point to control somebody's pulse, and if they're still going to be breathing at you by the end of the day.
But it's still it's just stressful either way. The feeling of not knowing if what you're doing is the right choice for that person at times, because some people may not be able to handle it in the way that like you're telling them they have to. Like when you're telling that person to calm down and breathe, you'll have that one person like, I can't fucking calm down. You know what I'm saying?
I did have a call like that one time.
I can't calm
It was
down.
just a kid, but
It's always the kids. They're erratic.
I haven't. It was a long time ago when I first started my career, and I can't get too much into it, but it was something similar to that. And I'm just like, you know what? I get it. I'm telling you to calm down and breathe and take a step back. I get it. You can't. I understand.
I can't do this. But we should move on to the topic we actually wanted to talk about too.
No, let's do that. Let's do that last.
Last?
Let's save that for last.
Yeah, that's a big conversation.
It is.
That's a for me. That's like
That's
a lot.
Let's tone down for
Alright.
because as you know, your job, you say it brings you a lot of stress, but you handle it very well.
It does have a lot of stress. For certain people, it is very, very stressful. For me, it's not, because I love what I do for the most part.
Well, that's good. That's what's important. Besides your occupation, though, like what hobbies, like what things do you get into on the side?
Oh well, I've been playing airsoft for the last 7-8 years
I've
now,
done
and you know I'm wicked big into it. We started together, but I'm wicked big into it. I like to travel for it and go to.
We're just. What event did you just do?
Oh, I did Spring Offensive 15 for Stag Ops.
What'd you bring?
I had my M4. I had my Glock. I brought my M249. I was the saw gunner for that event.
Oh no shit.
So I brought pretty much my saw, my M4, and my Glock. But my M4 is using my backup. I run into a problem with my gun, my saw, where I did have to use my backup. But I prefer to use my M4 anyway. I'm a lot faster on my feet.
Yeah, it's a good.
I have a question. Because a lot of your hobbies and stuff, since I've known you, they stem around like
firearms.
Yeah, military firearms. What do you do outside of that? Like, if you have anything else that you kind of love.
Well, you know me. I drive the Jeep. I like going to the beach. I like going to the gym.
Do you do anything like cooking? Do you do any kind of art?
Well, I do my meal preps and stuff. I do my own cooking. No, I don't really do any like art or anything like that. Like.
You like hiking, right?
I do like hiking. In a certain time, I like hiking. Like right now, it's there's a lot of pulling out. I usually might pop a clear in and go for a quick hike, but I actually like the trail that we used to go to.
Yeah.
I like doing that in the winter.
It's actually what this podcast is based around. The quarry.
Yeah,
we have a whole video. I still have to edit that.
You still have to edit that?
Yeah, bro, I've been slacking on editing. Bro, we got too into the games. I'm not gonna lie, for last month I've been slacking.
The Minecraft has been very well.
The
Minecraft has been very
intriguing.
It's pretty bad. I just broke 700 hours on Minecraft.
I think I'm actually.
I have like 3 weeks in it.
I think we need to actually do the dragon tonight. I was gonna stream that.
I gotta do that.
I'll do it.
I'm all for that.
I finished building around my whole thing. I have electric gates now, so I just press the switch and
fucking guy.
Redstone. Gates. Yeah, it was dope. I was spending like 3 hours
Mr. Midwest over here with the fucking herd of sheep.
Yeah,
he's got the electric gate.
You still dealing with those trees, bro?
Huh? No, I burned them all down.
Did you hear what happened?
Nah.
I went to his base with like an inventory full of saplings.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I was pissed.
Dude, stop! What the fuck?
He was sitting there for almost an hour and a half breaking down all that shit.
I was like, bro, what the
that was good.
Because the whole time, bro, I spent like the other day 3 hours just burning down an entire forest.
I did the same thing when I was building my base in the winter biome. Yeah,
this guy to come over
I'm trying to help for the environment. He burns it down.
You keep saying that, but it's fucking terrible.
No, that's funny.
Okay, all right. Let's go into some fun shit. Faith, start asking us anything.
I don't have any questions yet.
So you better come up with something.
Well, she's known us our entire lives, so I mean, she knows basically everything.
Come on, Faith.
Come on,
you got Google.
You got Google. Yeah, there you go. There's your.
I'll look it up. You guys keep talking. I'll look it up.
All right. So I like to like off-road in the Jeep and shit and go to the beach.
So
I might be a country boy. Now I'm a country boy, but you know that my heart is always gonna lie in the beaches of the South.
But I think I understand you, James. You just like feeling strong. I feel like that's what it is. Like it's like a lot of the things you do, from everything I'm hearing, it's more about like you just growing as strong as you can, and in your own ways, like which is strengths, like hiking, right? You're building strength, right? You're also exploring the world.
You would never know this, but I'm actually quite an incredible swimmer. I'm a very, very good swimmer.
I can barely swim.
I'm a very good swimmer. Compared to my buddy Fish, who actually is a college swimmer.
Fish.
You know Fish.
I know Fish.
You know Fish.
You guys call him Fish because he's a swimmer?
Yeah, so his name is John, right? But I call him Fish because we went to high school together. He, even in freshman year, he got 4 state championship titles swimming for the high school that we went to. We went to a private high school. That's no small task.
It's pretty fucking.
He's in the newspaper and stuff, and he's swimming for a local college, and it's a college of his dreams. And but compared to Fish, I am not a very good swimmer. But believe it or not, I'm actually a very good swimmer.
Is he like Olympic worthy? Like,
you know what? If he doesn't go to the Olympics, I'm gonna be very mad. I'm actually gonna be very pissed.
He's good. He's like one of the best in like his state, right?
You've seen him. He's very cut. He's very lean. He's a ladies' man through and through for sure.
Talking.
But he's got that romantic to him. He just can't shake it, dude. He'd be a beast in the bar. You know, he's
a good boy then.
You can't let the ladies get to him. That's what messes it up. Like, my brother was really good at basketball. That kid would have went.
Well, you know what Mickey says in Rocky, right? They make you weak in the knees, Rock. They make you weak in the knees.
It's true,
that's the truth.
It's true. The truth. They can hold you if you don't know how to like control yourself.
I tested this theory last year because you remember I was very slim. You know, I was hitting like 220, and I was dating this girl, and I tried it. I was like, you know, I was in the sheets the day before, then the day after I went for a run. I was like, damn, my knees. The fuck, man! I was like, it's true. It's a true thing.
He said I was in that position. He's like, the knees was just
going hard, fam. I mean, that was it.
You just gotta do
you
some
find
stretches.
something yet, gorgeous?
Can I be like stupid, like random?
Yeah, it could be
stupid
Anything.
you love
That.
it.
Would you rather this or that? Something fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they have to be fun.
No, it's just.
I just looked up 200 deep questions to ask your friends.
This is gonna take like an hour. All right,
Go
What
on.
do you mean? I have
Let's hear it.
200
Go down to
on
like the
Just
14th
I don't
one
know
and
how
then
people
ask us what it is.
You want number 14? Yeah, we'll do that. Pick a number.
I'm gonna say
27.
14.
14, 27.
189.
It's only at 100.
She
you-
said
No,
200
it's at
questions.
200.
Oh,
It's at
okay.
200.
I did
Alright.
it
Okay,
on purpose.
we'll start with
14.
yeah. How do you feel about sharing your passwords with people?
Share
Not happening.
passwords.
Not happening.
No, I'm not doing it.
I think there's only 2 people in the world who actually still have the password to my phone, and that's it. It's Fish and Jackson.
I used
I'll
to know
say
it.
this: if I can share my password to you guys, you wouldn't be able to get into. You don't be able to get into one
I got
account.
nothing.
Literally every single
Everybody
account has a
knows my
different
password.
password. And I have accounts to protect those other
Wait,
accounts. I have
is
like
it-
16 emails.
Is it like an iPhone password, or is it just like password for everything?
password?
No, just like password to your phone.
All right, so yeah, there's only 2 people that
You
I
know
know
my
that have
password.
my
You
Oh,
password.
know
my
my
password to my
password?
phone? Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
I
I
used to
forget
have yours.
Ryan's
I used to have
password
yours.
all the time, but I still know it.
Is it the
No,
same
I don't
one?
ever because it's.
Yep.
A s
Oh, I have it written
Yeah,
down
but I
somewhere.
always forget.
It's in my
I
phone.
don't
or
remember the
something.
numbers. I know
Mine's
the
so
pattern.
easy.
Mine's not. Mine's complicated. Mine's a pattern because I can't.
Yeah,
see
mine's a
shit.
pattern
Only
too.
a few people really know my password though. But that's because they only a few people go on my phone.
This is actually really funny. So my family has a thing where at Thanksgiving and Easter we like to pick on my aunt, and this is how we pick on my aunt. We've been guessing her passwords to her Facebook and her iPhone for the last like 10 years, as long as I can remember. And we will get into her phone every single time, every holiday, right? And we'll go into the bathroom and we'll take a picture of the toilet, post it on Facebook, and put some fucked up shit like, "Oh man, about to blow this bitch out after dinner." And we've been doing this for the last 10 years. And she has always changed her password, right? And she's always telling her daughters what her passwords are, but she doesn't know that her daughters give us the passwords. My cousins give us the passwords.
I was gonna say, is she like one of those so like obvious people that you could just read them like a book?
It's
and
like
just know the
birthday. It's like a
passwords?
birthday or something of like her dog or some
My mom
shit.
does the
yeah.
same shit. I'm like, why do you put birthdays for all your passwords? Like when she gives me her passwords, I'm like, this password makes so much. My mom's passwords are based on her current life. Every single time she changes it. Like if she's in a relationship, trust and believe her password's around her relationship. And I'm like, Mom, why is this your password? You've been able to do it for 6 months.
I
Like,
mean,
what the fuck?
If she that in love, she put the name.
Because my mom's looking like a
passwords, bro.
teenager. My mom
did-
acts like
No,
a
I get
teenager.
it.
I did
some
a
of my
password.
passwords are my boyfriend's.
What is wrong with you?
Why? That's
It's
only
just
a
easy to
girl's thing.
remember.
I did this one time, and I think I was in middle school. I was dating this chick, and I did it, and I remembered what her name was in Russian, and I actually changed it to my password in Russian. And
Okay,
I
that's
got,
kind of cool.
I
That
got,
is actually pretty cool.
I got locked out one time, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But my aunt, right? My aunt at the time was a German immigrant. She learned Russian in school, so she remembered how I spelt my girlfriend's name in Russian, and she actually got me back into the phone.
That's a luck.
I was trying to learn Russian in middle school.
Why would you want to learn Russian out of everything?
Well, there's a lot of different languages that some people don't have. Like when you hear bilingual,
I probably
half the
learn
time
German
it's gonna be English
and Spanish.
and Spanish.
In
Which
America,
is
Spanish is the second most spoken language in America.
yes, it is. But the thing is that I've always liked to learn Russian. It's just always something I've always wanted
I
to
want to
learn.
learn French.
French is the
I don't-
romantic language.
I can like.
It's the way to
The
go.
only thing I can like see people talking in Italian. I can understand the conversation.
La
I can
banana.
get a gist of what they're saying.
Right.
I just remember that from Miss.
But the thing is
La
that
banana.
you gotta see, you gotta
Banana.
That's all I remember from Italian class.
you gotta
How
you
to say
gotta,
banana.
you gotta be able to tell the difference between Spanish and Italian because they're very similar.
They're extremely because they're both Latin derived.
So you're looking at two
languages.
different kinds of Spanish. You're looking at like obviously like the Mexican Spanish, right? And then you're looking at the Spain Spanish,
Which is European. I'm Spanish.
Which is I forget. One's vosotros and the other one is
Nosotros?
Nosotros. Thank you.
Nosotros.
Wow, good for you.
Nosotros.
Nosotros and
Nosotros.
nosotros. Nosotros. What is so funny? Can you
That's
think
the
of
way
a
you
fucking
say
joke to you?
Would you like some nachos?
Suck me off, all right? So, and then you have to. Italian and Spanish are very similar.
Yeah, because they're both Latin.
They're very similar because they have Latin roots.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very hard for me in Spanish class. Mind you, I took 2 years of Spanish. All I remember is "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" It's on this list.
Wait, did you have Senor Papa? Oh, yeah, you did,
Papas
right?
fritas.
Papas
I went to a
fritas.
different school.
Oh, you didn't go to Ferry? I thought you did.
No, I didn't have Spanish.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, you, Senor Papa, he was the best Spanish teacher I've ever had. Because all other Spanish teachers sucked.
I never
Actually,
took a language.
you never had Senor Papa in 8th grade?
We didn't need to take a language
Did you?
in middle
Yeah.
school.
Senor Papa was amazing. That was
We
my
didn't need
dude.
to. You know what we took in middle school? English because we were retarded. That's what
No,
we
they
took.
made us take Italian and Spanish in the 3rd year.
Yeah, for the people who understood English.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I was pretty
Poor
good at
Ryan
English.
didn't get to learn a language because he was in the nurse's office half the time. He couldn't
Yeah.
fucking help
Yo,
it.
I'm not gonna lie to you though, in
Honestly-
Johnston, I went to the nurse's office almost every morning.
School nurses.
And guess what? Who
Shout
was
out,
sitting
shout
there?
out to all those
This guy.
school nurses, bro. Take
The
care
one
of
in
them.
Johnson High School was pretty fucking dope. She was
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved her. I used
She
to go
was
home
dope.
all the time.
Yes, because
Hook you
I
up
had
with the
panic
cough
attacks, so
drops?
I'd go to her.
Yeah. And I had
Chill.
Gio on my pickup list. He used to pick me up every day. Every
I
day.
used to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to go remember.
Yep.
I was like, who?
Gio and Gerald pull
This is
pick
the
me
shit
up
you
every
can't do
day.
at private high school.
No.
I went
Right,
to
public
a-
high school. I don't care too much.
All right, what is 27?
I don't like 27, so you're getting 30.
That's not what he picked. You have
Yeah,
to
but
read what he
27
picked.
is stupid.
Okay. If it's stupid,
Okay.
I believe
It's
her.
dumb. Do you believe in second chances?
That's actually a
Yes.
pretty good one.
Right? That's why I
Believes
changed
how
it.
bad you fucked up in the first place.
I'm with Ryan on that one.
I mean,
I believe in
yeah.
second chances only because I feel like everyone should have the opportunity to fix what they've done. But I do not believe in third chances. If you already try to fix it and you don't fix it, that's your fucking problem.
Do you think I should give you a second chance?
I've always been so nice to you. You're the one who's an asshole to me since literally
Hey.
our friendship ever started. So if you want to fight, we can.
She's like, if you want to
Listen, I'm ready to go right here, right
I
now.
got this.
You know I'll win.
Yeah, I don't know about that
I'm
one.
a big bitch. I like Joelle's question.
You know what they say? You know what they say? You know what Thomas Shelby says, right?
Thomas
Big
Shelby.
fucks hard. So I have to find somebody bigger to fuck with than you.
What's that from?
What's my
Peaky
question?
Blinders?
Yeah.
Oh my
Good
god.
show.
Do you believe in materialism or spiritualism?
Spiritualism.
I love that question.
I like both.
I like materialism, but I believe in spiritualism because I believe that God will give you anything you need in the material life. That's how I look at things.
I don't think he's gonna be giving you bitches, but all right.
Bitches are materialistic.
They are now.
This is materialistic. Clothing and shit. But nah, deadass, I believe in spiritualism because it can change, like, money can change lives. Money's
better or
materialistic,
worse.
yeah, for better or worse, but spiritualism can, money can make life easier, but spiritualism can change life, you know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah.
really believe in something that may not necessarily be believed by all people, you're gonna have, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to be able to believe in, like, a higher power, believe in something that you can't see will help you get through the hardest times because you have more will than other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just like
Because-
manifesting and all that stuff too.
Exactly, because anything that you need in the materialistic world can be given to you from the spiritual world. By believing in God, by following the truth, by following faith, and by just pushing through what you're currently going through, you eventually get what you want in the materialistic world. If you want money, God will show you what it's like to be poor, so you know what it's like to have money. So you know what it's like to fight for money. Same thing with love, same thing with hate, same thing with everything else. God will teach you a lesson that you will eventually get to the point where you can use what you learn to gain what you need. I don't know how I said that. I started
Use
a
what
lot.
you-
though.
yeah.
That was
But
pretty
know
good.
what
I
you
like
guys
that.
mean.
Yeah.
I know you guys know what I mean. That's why I believe in that more.
Yeah.
I've been really into
I like
God.
that.
So after we talk about
I
like,
like-
the last topic, right? And like you'll understand like my whole point of view on this. So like I love the materials that I have, that I own. Now, mind you, I got into a career that does not pay very well. It pays very well when you get to like the top step, but like I have to work for what I have.
Of course.
But I'm actually more. I appreciate the people that I have around me more than the things I have around me. You know, like, and after we get into our topic, you know, you'll understand why I say that. But like materialistic, like I'm very fortunate. I get to play a great sport like airsoft. I'm very fortunate that I get to take my Jeep and go to the beach and go off-roading. I'm very fortunate that I can do stuff like that. So, but I'm a very spiritual person.
Yeah, it's because you treasure what truly matters to you.
But there are a lot of things that I'm not very appreciative of.
Of course, I understand.
Like my bed, I'm very appreciative of my bed.
Oh hell yeah! I
My
spent
Xbox,
$1,500
I'm not very appreciative of my Xbox, but.
Wait, why not? It's a nice little piece. I mean, I use it to get away from my girlfriend when she's bothering me.
But then she just comes in the next room, so it doesn't matter. She'll come right back.
My boyfriend does the same thing until I take his headphones off.
You gotta stop being that girl.
I do the same thing around.
My girl doesn't
That's
do
not
it
cool.
though.
You can't be doing that.
I don't care.
My girl doesn't bother me if I'm playing. She'll talk to
You're
me,
doing
but she doesn't bother
You're
me.
doing foo-foo wifey shit on a girlfriend's salary. That's not how that works.
Do you see how disrespectful he is? He's always been so fucking disrespectful.
Oh,
Listen.
shit.
No.
Don't hate the player, hate the
shit.
game.
He said
him.
Foo-foo shit.
I hate
on a
him.
girlfriend's salary.
I literally said it the other day though. I was like, I'm doing wifey shit on my girlfriend's salary.
I said that to
Hey,
Liv
we all
like
deal
a
with
year
this
and a half
shit.
ago.
What?
Do y'all deal with this shit as bad, bro? I don't know if y'all noticed.
I haven't even popped the Claritin today. You're the only one that's hurting, and I'm pretty.
Well, like,
I
it is,
fucking
it's sore.
He's
can't,
been like this
bro.
for like a week though.
He's been like this
I
for
can't.
2 months. Every single
It's-
time I'm with him,
Like I get runny nose, but
Bro.
that's about it.
Fucking sick all the time.
I mean, I just got
can't
over
believe
it.
I
You
made
might have a
that face
sinus
on
infection.
camera.
I just got over a sinus infection.
Maybe I
gonna
always
blur
get
my
one
face
this
out in
time
that
of
moment.
year. Wait, what?
you didn't see the face I made.
You
I was
made
like,
an
I can't
ugly
believe I
ass face.
made that face on camera.
Are you guys gonna pick another number?
Yeah.
He picked 189.
We already did
Yeah,
that
but we
one.
need
Oh
another
yeah,
number.
yeah. It's
You go first, Ryan.
33.
33. This kid in fucking threes.
What did your past relationship teach you?
Nope.
Wait, which one? Wait, no. I'm sorry.
I knew that would be
I want to
funny.
hear this, but can we? So, in this sense, do
Honestly-
you mean like something short term or
Okay.
long term?
No. Okay, I can
What are
talk
you
about
talking
this.
So his last relationship, right?
No, we're gonna talk about real relationships. The last genuine relationship.
Would
we
you
had with
consider the most recent a relationship? Would you consider that a relationship?
It wasn't brought to my attention, and I'm so close
You never-
to them
you
that I
never
would.
even-
Wait,
No.
you're not
No.
doing that anymore?
That's
What?
been done
No,
with.
I'm talking way before that.
Oh, I was like so confused. I was like, what's
You're talking about in high school, right?
Oh.
No, we're talking about. Never mind.
You're talking about sticks?
No,
I'm
I
talking
don't
about
think.
sticks.
I don't think that counts because that
Sounds
wasn't like a real
It
relationship.
sounds
I
when you
think.
break. When
My
you,
last real relationship.
I think your last relationship
My
was.
Alright.
Are you talking about sticks?
Whether it be fling or relationship, whatever, I'm gonna just go ahead and say the reason that it didn't work is the fact that I just didn't need a relationship at the time.
Yeah.
You
You
weren't
know.
ready. He wasn't ready.
I don't think I
No, it
I
wasn't
don't
that.
think
He
I-
wanted to like grow himself before. He was saying how he didn't
Yeah,
want
and
it.
I mean, I've done exactly that, and I'm still doing it. You know.
Yeah, you
So I
can't.
guess I'm still doing exactly like
Can't pick an apple if a tree that hasn't grown yet.
yeah.
That's a good one.
That
I'm
is
gonna
a
put
good
in
one.
books. I'm gonna put that in
Just don't let it
books.
get fucking rhyme.
I'm stealing that no
Yeah.
copyright now.
So what did it? So did it teach you? From what I'm hearing, it teach you that you should be grown
I just-
before you try to approach certain things.
I felt bad because it's like I wanted to make time for this person, and it's like there's no excuse. You know, if you're with somebody, you find time, you make time with that person.
Of
Period.
course.
And if you just can't, then you can't. You know what I'm saying? It's a choice to make it a priority or not. I just wasn't willing to make it a priority right now in my life.
Yeah, I
You know?
understand. I understand.
And you know, there was like icks and other things like that. But
We
like,
don't get X.
Yeah, but icks
Oh,
are
we
things
get
you should be able to.
No, you get X.
No, we all get icks.
Yeah,
You
but
guys don't want to accept
My
it.
ick,
James,
bro.
what about
See?
you?
What about me?
What about your passion? What did it teach you?
I think my most recent one is I don't get into something that you're not ready to complete yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the last one. I actually saw this girl and she flipped me off and I laughed.
Oh, she flipped you off?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Is the one you was telling me about?
Yeah. No, they're completely different.
Oh,
It's
okay.
completely different. But a lot of the reason why I haven't gotten into another relationship yet is because the dating scene has changed. Like, it's insane.
It's a different book.
It's completely it's a different book. It's a completely different trilogy. It's not even in the same line of novels. It's ridiculous. It's not even the same genre anymore. it's done a complete 180, and I think most of the people who are going to watch this are going to be like, yeah, I can see what they mean.
Yeah, that's why guys aren't in it anymore. Guys are just not with it.
It's a lot of the actions of the female, but not all of it is the female. It's the male too.
Yeah, it's just we breed into each other's negative personalities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I haven't really been in that world too much. I mean, I've talked to a few people here and there, but like, exactly why it's just not a. It's kind of a toxic environment right now.
Sure.
Oh, it's a very toxic environment.
For me,
It's just something I
did actually learn something too. I'm in a current relationship, obviously. You guys know that my girlfriend. I've been with her for like.
I've known your
years.
girl since elementary school.
But
I know exactly how she is.
But I've learned two things, right? If I'm going to talk about a past, I've only ever had one other girlfriend. And one thing I learned from that is not communicating is the worst type of communication. Because me and her never actually argued, me and my ex-girlfriend, and I think that was our problem. We never actually talked about the problems in our relationship, and we didn't work out for that reason. For my current relationship, I learned that over-communicating is also a problem. There has to be like a fine line between what you say and what you don't say, because some things just breed for problems.
Everything's got to be 50-50 in a relationship, no matter what it is.
Exactly,
but you also have to understand too that a relationship isn't always going to be 50-50.
It's not.
Girl could be given 70, you're given 30.
It's just how life
70,
is.
She could be given 30. It's just you flip flat.
And you have to be willing to accept that, because some people are better in other areas, right? Like my girl is way better when it comes to emotions and communicating in that manner.
Yeah, but
and I'm not.
Still
So
just be in its own way 50-50.
no, I mean,
Still.
if
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, so it's always gonna be like that. It's gonna vary from time to time.
Yeah.
Let's say like I'm making more money, obviously, right? So I'm providing a lot more in the income aspect, but my girl's providing a lot more of taking care of us at home, and then vice versa. Let's say she's making more money, or let's say that she's not home that day and the room needs to be cleaned. I'm not gonna just sit there and let the room be cleaned. I'm gonna go in and put 100% of the cleaning right there. My girl, she's not putting in the time right there. You know what I'm saying? So we're varying each day because we can bring certain things to the table, but we also can't. And it's also like
but
the
you're
fact
talking about a perfect 50-50 situation where she's got something going on that needs to benefit you, and you have something going on that's going to benefit both of you as well. We're talking more about the aspect of like the 70-30, like you're sick, all right, and she's going to go and you got to take care of yourself. You're 70% of that slack right now. She's 30 because she's going to work.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Y'all
so
pick each other up.
Those things will switch
that.
off. And when you bring kids into the mix, or a dog, or whatever, or cats, whatever the hell, you know, it's even more. Yeah. But that's okay, because if you can rotate yourself around, you know, flip-flopping back and forth, and you two are still a team at the end of the day, then that's okay. That's good.
It's kind of crazy because like
that's
like
what
my dad said, where it's like it's like when you have a kid, it's like the woman that was number one priority in your life is now number two because of the child.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like though people do that wrong sometimes. Like I don't know how to explain.
I mean,
this, right?
I agree with that though. Like
I do
just as much as I'm now number two to that significant other because of our child.
I do, but I don't. So I agree with that. Your children should be a top priority. But if you and your girl aren't
each other's
100% good
priority as well, yeah,
you're gonna impact the kids.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, of course, every decision you make should be thought of for your kid, but you need to make sure that you and your girl are good, because if you guys aren't good, the problem's gonna stem. No matter how hard you try not to make it, that kid is gonna feel all that negative ass energy. You guys having arguments, you guys splitting up. Guess who has to deal with it? The kid. Kid's not having a father. The kid doesn't have a mother no more. The kid doesn't have the support that they were gonna have because you guys couldn't get your shit together.
I think that's where a lot of.
But that's okay when you have a kid, right? And if you're arguing, and because you're still communicating, it might not be the most healthiest way of communicating, but you're still communicating. A kid's gonna see an argument regardless if you're together.
No problem.
Okay?
No matter what.
Separation's bad. All right, it fucks the kid up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But there's nothing wrong with an argument. Okay. You need to understand at a very early age that arguments are okay.
Yep.
Okay. You have people see two different sides of coins, okay? Now, no matter what it is, the problem, you know, you're trying to solve it. If you're not trying to solve it, you know, it's a piss and mash between the two of you. Kids need to understand that arguments are a way of life. It is normal. It is not abnormal, okay? It's cut and dry.
I think the recording.
It's gonna get some sugar time out
Faith's
of
legs in there.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, I'm just making sure you know.
Yeah, I know.
Now I got Ryan's face right here.
Should I crack my toes?
Huh?
That's me.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
A lot.
Two dogs.
Alright, y'all. We're back in here. Alright, what's the next topic? Ryan?
I think it's time that we talk about the topic of the day.
The big one?
Yeah,
The big
so
one.
the other day, Slim hits me up. He wanted to talk about loss.
Which is an underrated subject.
It is.
It's very underrated. Especially because you see men's mental health nowadays, a lot of it is caused by loss.
Yeah.
And we could go on about what kind of loss, like loss of a girlfriend, loss of pets, or like loss of a family member or whatever. I myself have experienced loss of family members to like a huge extent when I was younger, and it was absolutely insane. Like I learned about it very, very young. So like I don't know if you guys want to touch base about your stuff first.
If you're willing to talk about it.
I'm willing to talk about it, but mine's pretty long, so I don't know if you guys want to like get into your stuff first. Or...
I mean, I've dealt with loss, man. I mean, not only loss, had to make sacrifices for things and deal with things, but that's just life. You're gonna get things that you're gonna want to deal with, not gonna want to deal with, and you're gonna have to deal with. That's just how well you can handle that level. Whatever's beating you down, how well you can get back up from it. But I mean, I lost my grandparents when I believe it was 2014 and 2015. They died a year apart, which is very, very weird that like a lot of that happens with like couples, if I've ever noticed. Like my grandparents knew each other all their lives, 80 plus years, and they so happened to pass like within the same year,
Really?
Yeah, I believe my grandmother died, and then it was like a year and like a few months after my grandfather. Yep. So they went.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely took a toll on my mother, and it's.
Honestly, that goes back to the spiritualism. If you think about it like that, they were probably lasting that long for each other. You know what I'm saying? They just wanted to spend the rest of their lives together, because that's all they really had left to do with each other, and they.
There's studies show that you can actually die from a broken heart.
Of course, because
stress.
Yeah, because also speaking on that, there's studies that say that when people actually get their heart broken in a relationship, it gives them the same feeling of losing somebody in their life. Because that's why nowadays, that's why so many people are so insensitive to that type of shit nowadays. Because like people go through relationships like they're fucking like they mean absolutely nothing when they do mean something to someone.
I don't know. Maybe I definitely think that it's different.
It's completely different. But if you go into a relationship with someone you absolutely love for the next 10 years, and out of nowhere a person says they don't want to be with you and they lose love with you and you guys never talk again, that's a loss to that person. It's not
heartbreak is heartbreak. I don't. It's kind of like it's almost like trauma. You can't compare somebody's trauma to another's. Same thing with like internal trauma. You can't deal with one trauma.
And I'm not saying they're the same thing. I'm saying that it does the same things to the brain. That's what we said in science. It gives you the same effect, the same feeling. It's obviously not the same fucking thing. I can't say I've actually dealt with any real loss because my father, I've never actually met him. I met him once, but I've never got to know him, so I can't say I felt like I lost him. My stepdad, he's around. My mom and him just broke up. Only thing I've ever lost, I say, or I'm never gonna be able to see. The only person or thing I'm never gonna be able to see again was my cat. And it's crazy I think about it like this. But I actually really loved my cat Luna. Like Luna was there when I don't have Luna anymore. And I had to give her up because she was too stressed out. She was having behavioral issues with the other cats in the house, and she was anxious. She wasn't going to the bathroom. She wasn't eating anymore, and the other cats actually wouldn't let her eat or go to the bathroom. So I felt really bad, and I was like, I can't let my cat live here like this. And she was also ruining everything in her house, either by ripping things up, shredding, going to the bathroom all over the place. I was like, I can't deal with it mentally, cleaning and fixing everything. She's making a problem, and then also she can't deal with it. So I had to get rid of her. And I thought I was fine, right? I was fine up until the day it happened. And then I actually, when I got there and I gave her away, I got really fucking sad. And I was inside the car, and I was with the person who brought me, and I was sitting there, I was like, damn, that was like my best friend. Like, remember, she was the sweetest cat ever.
Yeah,
you could legit sleep with her. Like,
it was just her.
Exactly. And with most cats, you can't hold them. Like, Luna would come next to me when I'm sleeping, and would lay in my arms, and I could hold her like this. And when I was inside the car, at first I was fine. And out of nowhere, I started thinking back, and I started tearing up. I was like, why the fuck am I crying over a cat? Well, this is a fucking cat.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
mean,
why am I tearing up over a fucking cat?
I mean, at the end of the day, a pet is another family member in the household.
I know, but I'm sitting here looking at a collar, and I'm like, damn. I'm never gonna be able to experience like the type of love I've had with like even Iris. She's cute and sweet, but it's not Luna. Like it's not the same with Luna. I've had her since she was a baby. She was there when I got our relationship with my ex.
Cute.
You know what's crazy?
She was so
It's crazy.
little.
Boots, our Shih Tzu.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Faith, can you do me a favor? Look up
But I
the
never
average
experienced loss
lifespan
in
of a
any
Shih
other
Tzu.
way.
I already know where you're going with this, and that dude is like fucking dude. He's like
19
times two.
They're supposed to be like 19 when they pass away, or 21 I think the most.
Yeah, well, this guy just broke the scale.
Isn't he like 23?
Yeah, no, he is 19, but I want to say it's like
13.
13. So
Yeah.
man is
13 for a
6
Shih Tzu?
Yeah.
Yeah, man is
I thought it was
6
older.
years past his like.
But how many is that in dog years?
So Sky's 12. It's 77.
He's at least he's like
I'll look it up.
90.
he's like 90 in dog years.
Now, no, he's like 150. 77. My dog Sky, she's 12.
19
She's 77 right now.
human.
Technically in dog
So,
years.
yeah, he's like 150. Yeah, he's an old dog.
He's old.
He's about to be 20. Next April he'll be 20.
Sign that man up for the AARP boost.
The abdominal spirit, bro.
And
He
again,
just-
I've never-
Get this man a VA home
He
loan.
just don't die. He doesn't die. We took him to the because he says wheezing. I don't know if you can hear him go. He's always fucked. It's fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. We took him to the vet, and then he was like, yeah, I mean, he's old, so he has these issues, but like, no, his life's not in immediate danger. We take him outside.
Yo, what the fuck, man?
we take him outside. He still runs. It's
Watch,
fucking.
this dog's gonna outlive me.
It's incredible.
And
This,
you.
this dog.
That's like Sky. I thought she was gonna pass away soon. They actually teared her up the other day because of it too. They were saying my dog's like fucking sick. She's losing all her fur and she's getting really skinny. We took care of her now. She's way better. But I thought she was gonna pass. I started thinking about the fucking past 13 years with this dog. I'm like, I lost Luna. I'm gonna lose this dog, and it's not the same kind of loss as losing a human, a friend, or a family
I'm ready
member.
for it.
But
gonna
it's still
suck.
sad.
It's gonna suck and it's gonna be sad, but it's not. You know, I have no complaints. The dog has lived this long, good life. You know, I have no complaints. So it's like,
Well,
He's 180 in dog years.
that's nuts, bro. I'm
You're too well sized.
I'm gonna start calling him fucking Yoda, bro.
180, bro.
Bro is a hermit.
I'm
bro.
struggling to be 21. That's fucking
I think it's because
crazy.
we've let him run his whole life. You know, free run his whole life.
exercise is a good thing.
Yeah, he's always.
It's also happiness. He's a happy dog. Like you guys.
Back when I lived on
treat him
that
well.
lake, the neighborhood was very secluded. It was very off, like the coast. You know, it's off the road. You know where it is. It's
Royalville?
yeah.
That one?
He we just opened the front door and he would go to the neighbors, say hello. They all knew him in the neighborhood. It was
You ever seen the video of
Moved.
the golden retriever Butterball? It's a fat golden retriever.
Yeah.
Butterball, what you doing? Dude comes from a half mile up the road. Dog walks into the house. Guy's cooking bacon. You know, like, it's like the guy already knows who he is.
That's cute. That's cute. But yeah, that's my take on loss. I haven't experienced enough to really know, but the times I have.
you're a abuela pass, right?
Oh, you might, but I've never known them to feel
You didn't
lost
know.
for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, that's okay.
It wasn't my abuela, it was one of my great aunts. I never really knew her to
I
feel lost
I
for it.
lost an uncle too.
Yeah, it's
So-
weird though when you're not close to them because you don't know how to feel.
I was close with them. I knew them my whole life. I would only see that. It was one of those family members where it's like they would come over to see Meme, like it was her brother, biological, and she used to have him come over here and there, but I would mainly just see him at parties. But he used to he did a lot of cool shit, and it was like I was gonna actually contact him, because I wanted to learn how to hunt. I still do. I was looking at crossbows and shit, rifles and all that shit. No, yeah, I know we've talked about it before.
He'll teach you how to hunt.
I wanted to really learn more from him. I've known bits and pieces. He sat us all down for a big family meal one time, and he gave us venison. It's really good.
Venison is good.
Venison.
Never had it.
It's gamey. It's good.
Never had it.
You'll have to
I
try
think
it.
the weirdest thing, which is not weird, but I had pig ankle.
Pig ankle. I've had pig ankle. Have
You
you ever
know,
had
you know the theory about pigs, right? You eat everything but the squeal.
the squeal? Yep.
What is this squeal? I don't know.
No.
You don't eat the squeal, but you eat everything on the pig but the squeal, bro. Come on.
Everything from head to toe. I'm not eating that though.
But you eat hot dogs, right?
Yeah,
Actually,
hot dogs
no.
is everything.
I actually haven't had hot dogs in a long ass time. Since I started dieting, I kind of like didn't even realize I cut them out.
That's like one of my go-to foods is a hot dog and a hamburger smothered
course
with
it
mustard.
is.
And shut up, bitch.
Some of the most like
Hot dogs and hamburgers, like go-to for me.
bro. Some of this is
great.
like fucking pig dick.
What'd you say?
Pig dick. Did you eat pig dick?
No, wouldn't
You know you can eat. There's countries. There's a lot of exotic shit. Like there's. I watched a video the other day. Somebody was
bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned from that one.
Good old Batsy. Somebody was like trying exotic dishes, and one of them was kangaroo dick.
What?
It was kangaroo dick.
Yeah, they're gonna eat fucking Jack. What's his name? Is that the
Kangaroo Jack?
Kangaroo Jack's dick.
Bro, it's like.
That's
where's my dick at?
Bro was like, it's very chewy, but he said it wasn't bad.
That's different.
There was a place I used to go to in upstate New York, and it's like an outlet, like beef jerky place, but they actually have like meat in there and stuff. So I went into the cooler and I was looking. Motherfuckers got alligator, kangaroo, fucking emu. Like they got it all. I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude.
Is that even legal?
Probably.
It's exotic.
What?
The people eat that shit. People buy it and they serve it in certain restaurants. If you go and ask, they'll order it. It's fun to cook it because it's different. Like alligator is actually really good. People in Florida, they love it. They eat it all the time.
It's a very delicate fish.
It is.
I would go as far as to classify it as a fish. Actually, no. Is it a mammal?
It's more. No, it's a reptile.
Yeah.
It's a one is a reptile, but it's also like
It's an aquatic
it's like
reptile.
it's hard to like it's good, but it's like jerky. You know what I'm saying? It's like beef jerky.
It's very delicate.
It's very
You have to cook it a
tough.
certain way or you'll fuck it up.
Yeah, it's very tough.
I watched a guy cook it with tequila.
That's my type of shit
shit-
right there.
Yeah.
I've been looking into. Don't let us get into cooking now, because
I'll go.
we'll go on in the biggest fucking wormhole.
Yep, my ADHD that I think I have will go over.
But yeah, man. Yeah, my Uncle Dick, he did all that stuff. My Uncle Ron used to do the pig roast actually too. They would put a whole pig on a fucking pole.
We did it at high school too.
Yeah,
Good. That's how they sent us off. They sent us off in a pig roast.
They'll smoke it for 24 hours.
It's actually pretty fucking cool.
I never went.
Why didn't you go?
I stole the golf cart that day, and I stole the school golf cart. I was kind of excluded from that one.
Are you dumb?
Yeah, I did it with the class president.
Oh my god.
Called it a pretty baller move. I didn't really give a shit.
That's fun.
I knew the deans too. I partied with the deans in the holidays, so it didn't matter. Well, because my best friend.
Did you ruin the golf cart?
No.
Yeah.
My best friend in high school, he was my neighbor. I used to go over for Easter, and his cousin was the dean, and we both went to the same high school. So he looked at me. He was like, "Dude, you trying to get yourself suspended?" I said, "You know something?" I said, "We'll call him M." I was like, "You know M?" I was like, "You ain't gonna suspend shit. You ain't suspended me." It's like, what happened at Easter?
Yo, actually, that's so true. I seen you on your Snapchat stories with you in school. You used to fuck with everybody.
And I never got in trouble.
I do remember him posting. You used to post stories and Instagrams of you just fucking with people in school. You look like you had so much fun in school. I remember seeing that shit.
I had a lot of fun in school. I had a lot of fun in high school. If I went to college, I probably would have gone to jail.
Yeah, if I went to college...
If I went to college full time for 4 years, I probably would have gone to jail.
I don't want to know that. I don't. Why?
Well, honestly, if I didn't have a
just
girlfriend and then went to college, I probably would have had some kind of disease. Because I was starting to become a hoe in senior year.
I had a
Right
spur.
before I met my girl. You remember, I was slowly becoming like, I was doing whole metrics.
You was a thought.
Yeah, and then I got a girlfriend and she calmed me down.
metrics is crazy.
Hoflation is a completely different thing now.
Hoflation?
You ever heard of hoflation?
No.
My grandfather used to have. No, this is just a theory. My
Oh.
grandfather used to have to work like maybe a little bit to get a girl that was 10 times greater than him. Now you have to work 3, 4, maybe 10 times as hard just to get a girl that's literally like not as good anymore.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
That's how inflation.
I wanna,
that's another topic for another.
I want
day.
to talk about your grandfather more. God.
God
rest
are
him,
you done with?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm.
So I guess we'll start off with like the top of the when I was 7, my mom and my dad were in a motorcycle accident. It was caused by a drunk driver, and my mom died as a result of that accident. But my dad was very fortunate and lucky enough to have lived, but he's somewhat handicapped on his ankle. He can still move pretty good. You've seen my dad move.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What happened when you were a kid? Do you think that has affected the choice of career you want to do?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I was going to get into that. Yeah, that's definitely a huge aspect of it. So, like when I was a kid too, like I still remember the night like it happened. I remember somebody woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was at my grandmother's house, my mom's mom. Took me to my cousin's house across the street, and then I stayed there for the night, and then they told them basically what was going on. I didn't know about it until the morning, right around noontime, when my grandmother told me. It was like, hey, listen, there was an accident last night, your mom's not coming back. I'm very, very fortunate enough in my life to have the people who were very important to me I was able to say goodbye to. Like my mom, my dad were going out on the motorcycle, which was a very normal thing. Because my dad loved to ride, and he still rides today. I ride now. You know, I got a motorcycle. I ride now.
That's good though that you didn't give up on it. You know.
Yeah.
Some people have a tough time.
Right.
That have been in accidents like that.
But I said goodbye. I was able to say goodbye to my mom and stuff like that. And you know, I was so young that I didn't even realize that it could have been the last time that I would have seen her. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't get emotional about it or anything like that anymore because I'm just not that person anymore. It's just it's very normal to me.
Yeah.
So, and then my grandmother told me she's not coming home, this and that. I was like, well, where's my dad? Well, he's in the hospital. You know, and my dad was in the hospital for 4 months. My dad was messed up pretty good.
So
had scars all over his head, lost some of his hair. His ankle is completely in shreds.
Horrible.
It's like, it was absolutely insane. I gotta say that the big anchor for me keeping me the way that I was, because I could have gone down a really, really dark path. I could have been a criminal. I could have gone to jail. I could have done anything worse with my life than I did. The big anchor for me was probably my family, particularly my grandfather, which is who you wanted me to talk about, and I will. But he's my best friend. Like he was my rock, man. He was my Peter. Like, you know,
he was a good man. He was a good guy.
He was probably one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. Very, very wholesome. I would like to think of him as a second father, because he was definitely like a huge father figure to me. Basically, like, raised me to be very old-fashioned, very respectful, you know, very strong.
Take care of yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So after everything kind of cooled down with like my mom dying and my dad recovered and all this other stuff, I did have a dog at the time, Zero. Love that little bastard. You know,
Zero.
He was a shithead though. Yeah, he was a pain in the ass. He was Jack Russell. So he had that Kentucky run in him. Like he would just he'd be running around the whole fucking living room, you know. He'd go a mile a minute.
What grade was it when he passed?
We were in middle school.
We were, right?
Yeah, we were in middle school. But my mom bought him for me. I actually have a scar on my eye because he bit me because I was fucking around with him one day. This was before my mom died, and they were gonna put him down. I was like, no, come on, it was just a mistake. It was just a goof. So,
how old was he?
Zero. I don't know. He only lived to be about 7 or 8. He was a good dog.
That's 60 years in dog years.
Yeah,
How'd he pass?
He had cancer. He had a lump in his stomach, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. It grew like 3 times the size in a day.
So you guys kind of already knew it was gonna happen.
Me and my grandmother knew. He was at my grandmother's house. My dad had to come home from work and this and that, and then when he died, I was like a wreck because that actually got me through. Like that helped get me through my mom's.
So you understood
death.
what I felt when I lost my cat.
In a sense.
Yeah, because
you had to give your cat up for the better good.
Yeah, but I didn't expect it. That's what made it shitty. Cause I was like, it was just like I was like, what the fuck? I knew there was
but you have to realize the time jump between these two is like my mom died when I was 7.
Yeah.
My dog died when I was like 13 or 14. So I was very accustomed to having him around.
I understand.
He wasn't a very lovey-dovey kind of dog, and he was never the same after my mother disappeared because he was so different when it came to my mom. So different.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet, so loving, so protective. He was a completely different dog after my mom was gone. And I wish there was a way I could have explained that to him, in a sense, but again, being 7 years old, you don't fucking think about stuff like that.
Of course.
So, but when he died, I was so mad, I was so hurt, and this and that. And my grandfather actually got me through it. My grandfather was like, all right, come on, we're going to go run errands, this and that. You can't be staying in the house all day feeling sorry for yourself. You got to man the fuck up, this and that. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. And I'm actually a big believer in that. Suck it up, like, talk about it when you're ready, and
move forward.
Right. I'm a very big believer in that.
No, I understand. I'm the same way.
But if done the wrong way,
it can be bad.
It can be very, very bad.
If never talked is where it's bad.
I talk plenty.
Yeah,
I talk
like,
a lot.
I feel like people like they'll do it and then they're just not ready. Just because you're not ready now to speak about it, you need to be ready at some point and let it
Right.
out. And that's what works for you because you let it out.
Right, and this is so many years of like losing people. It's ridiculous. So my great grandfather died, who helped raise me as well. This is my grandfather we're talking about, his wife, her father, my great grandfather. Call him Norman because that's what his name was, Norman. And when he died, I was like, we knew it was coming, this and that. He was very old, but he was a good man, real hardworking provider for his family, old-fashioned, did time in the service in the army, and every single one of his brothers did time in the army, just one of those strong grit, like, down to brass tacks kind of man, very hardworking. That's just how he was. And when he died, it was very sad, but I didn't really feel anything about it. Like, it is what it is. It was the end of his life. I was a little sad and this and that, but that was pretty much it. But my grandfather, that was the one that really, like, set me, like, down a kind of a, like, the spiral.
Yeah,
like,
that was
rough.
It was a tough time. I remember that.
My grandfather fought cancer from 2013 all the way until 2019.
Wow.
My grandfather went into the hospital for blood pressure issues, severe blood pressure issues, like on the side of a stroke. Now, to put that into perspective for you, you're looking at about 233 over 70. That's
you
a
said
stroke.
the cancer was where?
He had it all over.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
can't
right.
remember. He had it in his liver, I believe. And we got 6 years with him. 6 years.
Yeah,
you never see that
Nah.
with a cancer patient.
He was
that
a
has it in
tough
his
son
liver.
of a bitch. That's why
He was. So, but he was my best friend when he died. Oh man, that was rough. I remember I quit my job the day I found out that, like, that was it. He's going into hospice and like he was on the return because, and mind you, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. I'm almost probably an exact replica of my grandfather, almost, other than his height. Dude was 6'2". He's huge. I act like him. I still carry the same morals. Like, I'm very much like him. My humor, in a sense, he's a very sick man. He's a funny bastard. He was very funny. And I was very fortunate enough to, my high school sweetheart that I was with me the whole time it happened. But when he died, I spent the whole week with him, helping him. I was sleeping maybe 3-4 hours at a time, like at night, and I was doing this for a week. I was living at my grandparents' house for a week. I remember it got to the point where, like, my clothes stunk so bad that I literally didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave because I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. I lived right up the street. I lived right up the street. I was 5 minutes away. I remember I was like, I really got to go home and shower. I went home, showered. I was like, all right, I should probably go see my girlfriend, like, just say what's up and see what's going on because, this and that. I went to go see her. I don't think I've ever driven so fast to go see her and try to wrap things up. I stayed with her for an hour at the beach, flew home. I think I made it home. I was in East Greenwich. I made it home in like 20 minutes to Johnston. In 20 minutes. I was flying. I got home. Everything was fine. That night is probably when it all happened.
Yeah, I remember we were
I was
sitting in the living room.
Yeah,
It was quiet, yeah.
I was sitting in the back room. And now, mind you, when my mom died, I lived with my grandparents for a couple months. So the same room, the back room, the room that I slept in as a kid, waiting for, like, while my grandparents were watching me while my dad was in the hospital, I was sleeping in that same bed again. Just sitting there, just trying to get whatever sleep I could. 4 o'clock, no, shows you how tired I was. I used to stay up until 3-4 o'clock every morning just to make sure that everything was all right. As soon as I fell asleep, a half hour goes by. My grandmother's yelling for my father, yelling for me, just anything, right? I was so out cold, you had no idea that somebody was yelling. She was screaming at the top of her lungs. Now, mind you, my grandparents have been together since they were kids. They got married when they were in their 20s, right?
Yeah.
They were literally together right
How
after
many
high
years
school.
were they married?
40-something. Together for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there on the bed. I'm still sleeping. I'm knocked out. My dad wakes me up. He's like, "Hey, I need you to get up." I'm like, "What time is it?" He's like, "It's 5 o'clock." I'm like, "Man, you're waking me up after an hour of sleep. This better be good." I'm like, "I'm in high school. I'm a junior." And he's like, "Hey, he's gone." I'm like, hold on a second. You gotta let me get up so I can process what the hell's going on. So, and he's only in the next room. Like, he's like right across the hallway.
He
He was. I used to sleep right next
My
to him.
grandparents did as well. They passed in their house.
Yeah, I used to sleep in the room next door to his room. And I get up and I'm looking over there and I open my eyes. And I'm like, I'm trying to, get the crusties out of my eyes and shit. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, he's really gone. I'm like, holy shit. He had the medication that they put him on was so strong he was not able to speak like the whole time. Like he could speak, but you wouldn't understand it. You would have instances where you could understand it. I went in there one day before he died. I said, hey Pop, I just want to tell you something. I want to tell you I love you. He's like, thank you for everything that you did for me. Like, you're my best friend. And without even like skipping a beat, he was like, oh, I love you too, honey. I did the best that I could.
Oh yeah.
And I was just
awesome.
I was literally like, what the fuck? I'm like, you're talking about a week. This man wasn't able to say a thing.
Yeah, that's something with
And this is one thing. I was able to get that piece.
Yeah.
That knowing that I was able to get that piece and I
Helped
did
a
everything
lot.
and that I did everything that I could there for that whole week, even the sleepless nights, I know that I did as much as I could to try and repay what he did for me.
I got that blessing of my grandmother as well. The day before she passed, I wasn't there. I was home. They're all the way up north, far. So it was like kind of like going back and forth. So it was the day before she passed, and she was not vocal like at all. Very rarely she would mumble, point for what she wanted, and cause she already had the Alzheimer's as it was, so she kind of was just.
That's where most of my family passed away from Alzheimer's and cancer.
Yeah, she was very sick. Just mom was like, "Go tell grandma you love her, goodbye," right? Like as I was leaving, and she looked at me and goes, "I love you," and I was one of the last people she talked to. So it was.
In that same regard, I was very, very lucky that
Yeah.
that I was able to say goodbye to everybody that I've lost that I was very close to. I was very, very lucky in that regard. And when I went to my grandfather's house, I was there actually, believe it or not, for like 2 weeks. I was there on and off the first week, and then the second week when I found out that he was like, that was it, this is the end. I was like, I quit my job right then and there. I'm like, listen, I got shit I got to go deal with. I'm like, I'm never gonna get this opportunity again. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the work I'm doing here. I could care less. I'm covered. I'm fucking leaving. And my boss had completely understood when I talked to the manager about it and whatnot, and it was this and that, and my dad knew the boss very well, and he goes, listen, he goes, I understand. He goes, you need anything, even money, you let me know. Because
that's good to have a supportive business.
I never went back to work for him, but I apologized to him after everything that happened. I said, listen, I'm so sorry.
Sure, there's no bad blood there.
Right, and there isn't. I said, listen, I'm so sorry with the way I reacted and how I handled things, but like, you need to understand I was never going to get that opportunity ever again. And I stayed there for the whole week. And my family's very big. You've seen my family. My family's huge. With my grandfather being one of 4 siblings. I'm sorry, 5. At the time it was 4.
My mother's the same thing. She's got 5 other brothers and sisters, is 6 in total.
Right. He had 3 kids, and my dad, my aunt, and my uncle. So I have a very big family. But I remember it was 5 o'clock, and my dad is like sitting there calling my uncle and saying, listen, hey, this is what's up. My uncle lived right up the street. My aunt lived on the other side of Western Cranston. And so it only took them, they arrived at the same time. They were both speeding, and they arrived at the same time, and it was just, me and my uncle are very, very close. My uncle went through a divorce. I showed everything that my family did for me when my mom died. I made sure I paid back and then some for being there and being supportive and doing whatever I could.
You have respect.
Right, and my uncle and I are very, very close. And my uncle was the first one to get to the house, and I was fucking devastated. I didn't even know what to say. I'd never cried so hard in my life because I lost somebody so near and dear to me. I lost a father figure, is what I lost.
Tough,
It's a lot, and that's
no words can describe the feeling.
That's basically the best way I could describe it. He was more than that to me. He was one of my best friends because we used to talk about everything. We would laugh. We'd hang out all the time.
Yeah, I would always remember you were like, I gotta go to my grandparents because he was always.
Yeah, homeboy was always sleeping in the friggin' hammock in the backyard, and I'm like, hey, oh, you old bastard, what are you doing? It's a simple shit like that, But I remember when my uncle showed up and he looked at me and I sat there. My eyes were just covered in tears. I couldn't even make out that it was him. And I was just like, yeah, this is it. And the hug and the cries that transpired in that house at 5 o'clock in the morning, I never want to experience ever again in my life, because that was the most pain I had ever seen my family go through. And I never want to see that again. And it was 10 times worse when my mother died, because my mother was so young.
Yeah.
And because it was so unexpected. My mother was 35 when she died. 35. And I remember, no, going back to my mother, I remember everything. The funeral, the day before getting my suit.
Yeah,
I remember the day it happened. I remember the day going to see my father in the hospital. This is stuff you do not forget. At 7 years old, I'm 21 now. 14 years later, I remember everything the way it was. Everything. My dad was in a wheelchair because he could not go on crutches. He could not move. He got to leave from the hospital to go to the funeral. And he was having trouble with the wheelchair, so I was like, I was 7 years old. I was very strong when I was a kid. I was like, don't worry, Dad, I got you. And I'm pushing the wheelchair into the funeral home to try and lay my mother to rest, and my dad's sobbing like a baby. And I literally was just like, I wiped my tears. I grabbed a box of tissues out and I just patted him on the shoulder. I was like, there you go. At 7 years old, that's what I did. I had to grow up very quick. And the reason being that I'm a lot more mature than my peers is because of the things that I've lost in my life and the people who have taught me things. That's why I'm more mature. I have principles that most people don't care about. We're the most 21-year-olds right now in the college dorm room getting absolutely sloshed before an exam.
Ignorance is bliss, it's a lot of people that haven't had to go through horrible shit, they don't understand it, they don't understand the integrity it takes to do certain things. I know what you're saying. So that's strength after being knocked down like that.
But you know me,
it's a different strength.
I was a very wild kid growing up because I had to grow up very, very early, and I'll always be a kid. And if I'm 21 now and I'm still the same way, I'm never gonna change, and I'm okay with that. That I'm okay with because I don't really care. But at the same time, it was like I remember looking around and my family. Mind you, the church was full. Like every seat was full. My mother was so young, had so many friends. She was very popular. I get my personality from my mother, her jokes, everything like that. I remember going to the funeral home and everybody, when I handed my dad the tissue, he had no words. He literally just looked at me. He had no idea what to do. And I will tell you, I have a lot of respect for my grandfather and my father. And I will not tell my father how much respect and how strong he was, because he could have tapped out right then and there. He's a single parent. Could have tapped out right then and there.
Oh, yeah.
I have so much respect and love for my father for what he did, because he could have just been like, you know what, I'm done. And he could have just been a basket case, but he didn't. He manned up. He took care of me.
Duties, yeah.
He did the best that he could with me, and that was the end of it. That was
your father's a good guy.
That was a team effort, is what that was. And that's why you see.
To be when it comes to loss.
That's why you always saw my dad was always so hard on me for certain things, because he didn't want me to fuck up my life. Because one wrong move, that's it.
Yeah,
you can fuck things up.
It's a tough thing to do.
But
I imagine.
I remember handing my dad the tissue, and you look at my family started to break down, and everybody lost it right then and there in the funeral home, because it's just. Because you're seeing young. Two people.
They're seeing somebody so young have to go through this.
Right, and pick up slack.
Yeah.
It's like all I wanted to do was just chill out, watch fucking Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and just, go back to karate practice.
I actually just started it again.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. But you're seeing a kid live his life trying to be a kid, and he's gonna face this roadblock.
Yeah. It's interesting how God molds people. Yes. God molded you through pain, but you came out stronger than ever. Right. Just like when you're working out a muscle.
That's when you, and that's a big thing, was like, because you remember me, I used to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be very big. And I had so much anger and hate that I needed to get through and just out. So I did it for going to the gym. I lost 50 pounds the first time I started doing it. 50 pounds. And there's still plenty, there's so much still in here. And I talked about it many times, but there is still something down there that I just can't shake.
I understand.
That I just need to get it out. And this is over years. You're talking about my mother and my grandfather. That's years of pain. Years. I almost didn't graduate high school because my grandfather died when I was in junior year.
Yeah, you don't know how to.
It started at the end of August is when it happened.
Yeah, I remember the funeral.
And I would have beat myself up if I knew I didn't do everything that I could have done, and I did. I remember for a week I just dedicated myself to making his life better and just making sure he was okay and this and that, and and deep down that gave me a sense of accomplishment, and I'm glad I could repay that back. And notably, like, he has 6 grandchildren now. Cousins. He has 6. He has 6 now, but he was only around for 5. Me, my two male cousins, my cousin Angelina, and then my cousin Isabel. She's just a sweet pea. She was there though. But my grandmother noticed that I was there nonstop. I cut everything out of my life. He was top priority. Like, that was it. And she noticed that. And I remember when they took him away, and she was just devastated. And I tried so hard to get her out of the hole that she was in. I tried so hard. I visited twice, 3 times a week in high school.
I remember doing it. Yeah.
It's like I used to go over there all the time, just to see how she was doing. I still go over there. She's been around for. That happened 4 years ago. Sometimes I still go in that house and I'm just like, where is he at? Is he still in the back room taking a nap, or like what's going on? It was like the first year was rough.
Yeah.
First year I'm thinking he's still going to be there, this and that. Like when I graduated high school.
Because it not only was it like it was a routine to just go.
Right. It was a very normal routine because I lived right down the street.
We had so much memories with him. That's probably what made it so hard.
Even in the routine of going to visit them, even if it's not even visit somebody, you're on a routine with something. You break your routine. You can feel like, even if it's like waking up in the morning at a certain time or eating a certain way on a routine or a diet, like you fuck up a routine, it affects you in a negative way.
So he was a very, very like manly man, 6'2".
Yeah.
Did time in the army. He was.
Where did he serve?
He was what?
Where did he serve?
He was in the National Guard.
He was in Guard, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was in the Guard, and then he was a cop for a while, and then he went to go work at office at FM Global. Was there until this motherfucker, right? Never took a day off, never took a sick day unless he was sick. When he left FM Global after like 30 years of working, he took 6 months of his time off just to be like, all right, that's it, I'm retiring. Somebody else is going to do my work for 6 months because I've saved up all this vacation and sick time. I'm like, that's a baller move right there. That's in the position of fuck you. Like, I'm taking time off.
He knew how to, that's why these companies do that.
Right.
They give you these benefits like that you can use, and if you use them right, you can do shit like that. Hell, you build up like a year's worth of sick time. Your last year before retirement could be like, hey,
there's certain policies to it, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, you can build it up, especially if you have time. Sometimes they give you more time. Like my dad at his job right now, he basically gets 3 months off of it in a year. Every year he could take 3 months off if he really wanted to. He just scatters it throughout the year, and he can carry over like a month, and then it just wipes out the next year. But like, it's cool that he was able to do that and really like. That's hard, but at least you have the memories with him. You can still remember.
The biggest thing that I carry on my shoulders now is like, especially when I joined the department when I was 20, is that I had to prove myself being the youngest one there, having to prove that I belong there. And it's completely different when you're a cop and you have to go through the academy and then you're at work. So you have to prove that you want to be there at the academy, and then you have to prove that at the department that you want to be there too, because you work hard. And you have to show that you actually have a brain between your 2 ears, But I think the biggest weight that I carry is trying to make him proud. The biggest weight. And I remember, because I'm very spiritual, being Catholic. He was very Catholic as well. I get that from him a lot. I have a theory where the more spiritual you are on earth, the more power you get up there. He was a very, very holy man. Went to church every Sunday, did not miss a beat unless he was sick. He was very respectful of the Catholic Church and this and that, but I used to get dreams from him all the time. Vivid dreams, really vivid. I had a dream one time. I was in high school. I was just finishing up my senior year, and I had a dream of him. And it was like I was in a military barracks, almost like I was going to fulfill my dream to be in the service, which I will eventually, but not right now. And he was looking at me, straight faced, like had a mustache and everything, which he did have a mustache when he was a cop. He had a mustache. He had like a really really short like buzz cut, and it was him. I was like, because I've never seen him like that. I didn't recognize him like that. There's a theory when you go to heaven, you go to your prime. You look at when you were most handsome, when you were young. That's what you look like when you're in heaven. That's the truth. So I saw him in his prime, and he looked at me and was like, I'm very proud of you for what you've done so far. And I woke up, I was in fucking tears, I was a mess, I was like, that fucked me up the whole day. I was like, wow, I was like, that's fucking insane, this and that. I was like, he's proud of me, you know, and there's no real way to understand
explain
or explain it.
You're,
Simply
Put, explain it.
Yeah, that's.
But that same night, I was talking to my aunt. I was like, "Hey, have you like ever gotten any drink?" No. Isabel had one the other day though. It was my grandfather. The same look. What he looked like when he was a cop. I was like, that can't be some coincidence. I was like, that's gotta be something.
Is Isabel a grandchild of his?
Yeah.
He's speaking to all his children.
Yeah, but not. It was just me and Isabel that got it.
That's interesting.
But I've had multiple dreams about him in the past. I've had multiple about my mother. Remember that time when we were kids? We were like 14 or 15. I broke down the fucking Five Guys. I was just crying. I had a dream about my mother that night. Or the night before. And I still have a lot of untapped shit that's going on with like my mom and my grandfather. But it's a lot more anger and a lot of other stuff. But there's so much shit that I could say about my grandfather and what he's taught me and the pain that I went through, but there's not enough time. There's just not. There's so much stuff that he gave me, that the way that made me feel certain things. It's just I just don't have the time to explain it. It's just so much.
It's okay. That's why you have the time on the world to feel it. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the rest of your life, you'll be able to feel it and adapt to it and express it differently in different ways. When you grow in your career, when you grow in the gym, you're gonna be pushing out all the trauma, the pain, over time. And thank God gives us the time.
That was a beautiful funeral that they did.
Yeah, it was very nice.
I remember when I went up for
this fucking guy. I'm sitting there with
my about that. It's pretty funny.
I'm sitting there with my high school sweetheart at my grandfather's funeral, right? I cried like the last 3 nights. Like I was fucking exhausted, you know. I slept a full night the night before for the funeral. I got my best suit on, shirt, tie, everything and all, sunglasses and whatnot. And my girlfriend's sitting right next to me. She's holding my hand, you know, just being supportive and whatnot. And oh my God, my grandfather loved my high school sweetheart. She was great. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And she's sitting there with me, and that phone call that I sent her with the morning he died, it was bone shattering. It was like that's a topic we'll talk about later, but we're sitting in the church and they're giving out the Eucharist, right? And this motherfucker, you're supposed to take it like this, you know, because you're healthy, you know, you can take it by your hands. He goes, and he sticks his tongue out, and the priest gives it to him. And I look at him, I go, did I just fucking see that right? And I just start giggling, bro. I'm like, this motherfucker. I'm like, you got all my friends, all my family watching this fucking guy.
So
are you serious?
I swear, it's foggy because it was a long time ago.
The priest actually fed you it though?
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's supposed to.
I did it. I might have did it the wrong way and then put it. That's why he didn't give me the bread. But like, I don't know. I didn't study on religion. I didn't know what I was just like, okay.
Because you know that's a topic I have a lot of knowledge on. I studied religion for 12 years.
And he just wasn't doing it, so I was just like.
It was like, come on, hey, come on, give me the Eucharist, the body of Christ.
Yeah, your father was
pissed. Come on. I didn't know. My dad wasn't pissed. I think my dad was mad because he was trying to hold back laughs, but
that's hilarious.
I said, no matter where you are, I'm gonna make you fucking laugh.
I definitely made that laugh too.
That's great.
I shook my head. I shook my head and I chuckled, and my girlfriend goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, Ryan just took the Eucharist by the mouth. And she goes, honestly, he did what?
If I ever went through something like that, I would love to have a friend there to be able to just put a smile on my face in those hard times.
I didn't mean to do that either. I didn't know what I was doing.
And that's what made it funny.
You knew what you were doing.
No, I swear. What made me laugh is I turn around and I see you fucking dying.
I couldn't help it, man. I couldn't, dude. Bella's trying to stop me from like laughing my ass off. I'm like, I can't fucking help it. All right. I'm like, look, I gotta invite this guy to my grandfather's funeral. He's fucking things up, making me laugh and shit. He's trying to be all serious.
I want a nice suit that day. It looked good.
Nah, that's what I would need. That's the perfect type of drink on that kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you need. Like it's just friends, like good friends at least, that will sit there and put a smile on your face through those hard times.
When I woke up and I finally came to the realization that like my grandfather had died that day, I was sitting in the back room, and I was like, you know what? Now that he's gone, he's not going anywhere right now. I said I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna clean up a little bit. I said, and then I'll give her a call. This is probably 3-4 hours after it happened. I get upstairs, just take a shower, get a fresh change of clothes, just chill out, turn the air conditioner on, maybe make myself a cup of coffee. I don't really remember what I did. Or I had some breakfast or something. And I called her up. I was like, listen, I was like, this is it. Like, he died this morning. I was like, I'm going to be here all day. I was like, if I don't answer the phone, you can come through, come over, whatever you want to do. Without even, like, the drop of a hat, she called me back a second later. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll be there later on today. Like don't even worry about it. Like, I'll be there. And that's supportive, and that was very, very good, being that she was so supportive in that sense. And I was with her for 3.5 years. My longest relationship ever. I also learned a lot of things in that relationship, but that's a topic for another time. And don't laugh.
Sorry, I remember that one.
And she came in, she sat down in the room with me. Her father actually worked with my grandfather at FM Global, so they knew each other, and he knew the family and this and that. So he came in, he socialized. We just sat down on the couch for like 40 minutes. We didn't say a word to each other. Just sat there, just cuddled, and that was it. It was probably the most peaceful time after he died ever. Like, it was very relaxing and very rewarding to get that. But the saddest part was when I graduated high school in 21. Now, mind you, he died in 19. I finally got my diploma, and I was so proud of myself because I almost failed out of high school because of everything that had happened with that. That was the biggest reason I almost failed out of high school, was my grandfather, because he died.
Yeah, you're dealing with
right. It was a lot to deal with. My world was fucking going like all over the place. Right. At that time, I'd broken up with my girlfriend. I was all over the place. I was just getting back on my feet. I got my diploma after summer school, and I sat there and I put it right next to his grave, and all I said was, I did it. I finally fucking did it. And I just broke down right then and there. I was like, finally a fucking break. I finally got it done. Because it was the biggest struggle ever. I may have gotten kicked down so many times, but I never fucking stopped. I always kept getting back up. Yep. I always kept going. I was this close. That's
your motto, bro. Don't give up.
I literally just fucking don't, dude. I just keep fucking going. I don't stop.
Good.
But a lot of that.
You're good.
I'm sorry you've gone through all that. I didn't know. I knew about what happened to your mother because I know you've told me that before. I never know about you. That's recent, especially. That makes sense though, because we weren't talking for like a year or two too.
Yeah.
And it makes sense now that you're saying it. And I was like, I didn't know he was going through.
I was a completely different person after those 2 years. And a lot of stuff happened in freshman year that had a result of my mother's death in freshman and sophomore year, and there was a lot of other stuff that I can't really get into. But it was just
a lot.
It was high school was definitely the next step of manhood. It was definitely like the next step of.
It was
like,
the next growth spurt.
Right, you're going to be a full-time fucking adult now. You can't. Quitting is not an option. Like, you're in this bitch till the end. Like, this is it. You quit, you're a fucking pussy. That's it. That's the bottom line. It's like if you get knocked down, you get up. That's it. And it was just a constant. My whole life so far has just been a constant rotation of that. I get the shit kicked out of me. I get back up. I try it again. It just keeps going.
I understand.
And I get that mentality a lot from my grandmother, and my mother was a very hard worker as well. My mom used to work 3 jobs. She had no idea what she wanted to do. She had no idea if she wanted to be a teacher, a fucking hairdresser, a baker. My mom was all over the place. But I loved it. She was such a hard worker. She was really. I
see a lot of that in you. The lot of stuff
yeah.
you really get into stuff. Whether it's fishing, hiking, airsofting,
I get
your career.
Very excited in the shit that I have interest in. Very excited, and I will literally do everything that I can to make myself better at those aspects. Yeah. Which also is why I have my work cut out for me in the line of work that I do, because I'm very enthusiastic. When I see something that I can work off of,
you want to be at 150%.
Exactly.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I've never dealt with loss. I've just dealt with empty spaces. So
when I get something across my desk that I have to do like an investigation on, I get so happy. Because that means I get to do some actual fucking work.
He's not just taking calls. He's like, I'm going in.
I love it. I'm the
we do because of the time crunch. Got to wrap up within the next 2 minutes here.
Oh yeah, because what are we at now?
What are we at? 50 minutes.
Oh yeah, the first half is like already like an hour.
Let's call it here. Is there anything you would like to tell the world before we wrap up here?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
He's a simple
If you're gonna fuck with somebody big so they can fall hard. There we go.
That's Amen.
It. That's
Guys,
it.
thank y'all for watching. Have a good day. Peace.